Hi, I'm Susan Taylor, certified by the Upledger Institute to practice craniosacral therapy. Today I'm here to show you a few aspects of what I do. Through palpating the body, I can actually evaluate the cerebral spinal fluid flow over the brain and the spinal cord. The fascia, which surrounds the brain and spinal cord, also spreads through the entire body. And when the cerebral spinal fluid is at its peak, the whole body is in a flexion mode. Everything expands. And when it is lower in its level, it actually contracts. The whole body contracts, and that's called extension. So right now I'm going to go ahead and do some evaluation of the body using flexion and extension. Basically, what I like to do to start my sessions is I like to palpate the body. I like to put my hands on various high points that indicate to me I can feel the flexion and extension as I'm holding these places. So I don't like to stay on these places for too long because it's pretty easy to move into treatment. But what I'm going to do is just notice flexion. Here we are. The body's moving into flexion. Yep, nice, smooth movement. Good. And back into extension. So what I'm looking for is for the body to show me SQUARE, which is an acronym we use to identify symmetry, quality, amplitude, and rate. We want our bodies to be moving in the same way. We want them at the same time. We want them to have the same quality of movement. We want them to have the same strength of movement. And we want them to have the same speed at which the rhythm moves. Symmetry, quality, amplitude, and rate. And if you just put your hands at your side, please. I'm going to hold on to the high points on the hip. And actually in this place, I can feel that there's a little bit of a difference in how the left hip moves away from the spine and how the right hip moves away. And so I'm going to come back to here and do a little diaphragm release. But first I'm going to check out the rest of the body. The ribs feel nice. And the shoulders. Nice strong movement and inflection. And now they're both moving nice and equally back into extension. When evaluating the head, there are 3 hand hold positions, which are useful to use. Holding the occiput, the back of the head, and with my thumbs I'm reaching the greater wings of the sphenoid. The occiput and sphenoid are where the extension and flexion motions are determined. Okay. And then from the second handhold, I'm going to also be evaluating the sphenoid and the occiput, as well as the frontal bone movement. Evaluating for flexion, extension, and symmetry, quality, amplitude, and rate. The third vault hold also is working towards the same understanding the cranial movement at the occiput and the sphenoid, also evaluating the temporal bones and the entire cranial extension and flexion. So I'm going to move into the pelvic diaphragm. Put my hand, the first hand I'm going to slide right underneath and get a hold of his sacrum. top hand is going to move right to the top of his pubis bones, and I'm at 5 grams of pressure right now. Hardly any pressure coming into the body to start with, but right away I'm going to go ahead and start to give a little compression so I can feel what is the pattern of tissue movement here. What's the fascia doing? What are the muscles doing? Where are the restrictions? So already I'm starting to feel the base of my hand moving down towards his feet. A little bit of it's a little bit like a torsion pattern. And also then moving over towards the right. Like that's what it really wants to do. And so I'm going to let it do it. I'm going to follow the tissue right along until I come to a place which we call a barrier, which I feel right now, like the tissue doesn't want to go further than that anymore. But I'm going to hold it right there, because in holding it there, I am not going to let it come back towards me, back to the same pattern of movement that it was in before. As it holds here long enough, the body will actually, well, I'm holding so gently that it's not, again, something that I'm doing so much as I'm allowing the body to decide if it really wants to have this restriction here. So I'm just holding right up against it, giving it permission to think about that. And it feels like it's thinking. Just you can almost feel it thinking. There you go. And when it releases, it's pretty likely this man will have a nice big sigh. There we go. There he is. Yeah, very nice. And now I can allow the body to move past that restriction. Just follow it. Now it's, oh, feel how much easier it is. It's just letting itself move right along over there. Yep, great. And now the tissue's tending to move by itself again, back towards center line. Good. So that is the pelvic diaphragm release.